Have you ever felt like you were in the right place at the right time, but you had no idea why? Yeah, I've got a story about that I'd like to tell you in this video. Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Ken and I'm on a journey to lose as much weight as I possibly can so I can become a fat guy no more. Well, just a few days ago, I was supposed to go to the Oklahoma City baseball club game. I had gone the night before with my best friend Angie, and it ended up being a late night. Between us getting there early for an event, the game running long, fireworks afterwards, and then as I walked out, ran into some people, including somebody that recognized me from a Facebook group that I'm an admin in. So we were taking pictures and talking and so on and so forth. It ended up being a late night. I mean, I'm an old man, right? And getting home after midnight, well after midnight as it were, sometimes is a little bit tough, and I had decided maybe I would skip the Saturday game. So I spent most of that day right here at my laptop editing videos for this channel, and I decided I'm just going to stay at home, hang out with the wife, have a nice quiet evening with her and the pups, maybe watch a movie, and just kind of chill. Well, then something happened. I got a really strong second wind. It was as if I had all the energy in the world, and I decided, let's just go. I've already got a ticket. Let's go ahead and go to the game. So I made myself one of my electrolyte drinks. I headed into downtown Oklahoma City. The first few innings of the game were nothing special really, except for the fact that we got to see not one, but two different major leaguers doing a rehab assignment here in Oklahoma City. The two being Tommy Edman and Max Muncy, who both play for the Los Angeles Dodgers, which Oklahoma City is their AAA team. So they were down doing rehab, and it was always fun to get to see the major leaguers play here in town. But the rest of the game, nothing special. So I was doing what I enjoy doing at a ball game, not only watching the game, but people watching. I have a lot of fun people watching, especially when you're at a game. And I happened to notice this gentleman, a bigger guy, sitting a few rows down in front of me on the aisle, and he just looked uncomfortable. I know that I have a hard time sitting in those seats, and so I can understand, and that's why I typically, since I am disabled, having braces on both of my legs, I typically get the ADA row and use one of the folding chairs so I can be much more comfortable. So as I sat there watching him squirm around, I sympathized with him. I felt that I knew what he was going through. We're somewhere around the fifth inning when he got up, walked right by me, and came around behind me and stood behind the empty seats just off to my right. People do it all the time, so it didn't really mean much at that moment. But then in the top of the next inning, I hear him say something that I assume was directed at me. And he says, "I didn't realize they pulled Max Muncy from third." Neither had I, and I looked out at third, and sure enough, it wasn't him anymore, so I turned to him and I said, "I didn't realize that either." That got us talking about things, mostly baseball. Find out he's from Sacramento. Of course, the Oakland A's are moving to Sacramento, so we talked about that. And after talking for a little while, our conversation naturally turned to weight. He was showing me that not all box seats there at the stadium are built the same. I hadn't realized that. The ones just off to my right that he was standing behind were actually a little bit wider than the ones like he had just been sitting in down below. I had no clue. But you could clearly see that that's the case, and I still don't know why, but I found that interesting. He started telling me how he's had a lifelong struggle with losing weight as well, and I totally understood that. How he's 54 years old, he's in town because his daughter is starting college here in Oklahoma City, and how every day at work, as a kitchen manager, he struggles because he hurts. Man, I told him, you're preaching to the choir. Back when I was younger, I started off in restaurants. I worked my way up from dishwasher to line cook to eventually shift manager. I was on my feet all the time. How I would wrap my ankles with duct tape, literally, just to give me some compression, some support in my ankles, because those were long days on your feet standing in a kitchen. So I completely sympathized with him. As we continued to talk, I debated it, and then I finally decided to mention Mounjaro. I gave him basically the Cliff's Notes version of my testimony, if you will, about how I didn't really even want to start this medication, how I fought my doc, and how I finally agreed, gave in, told her that I would do it for 3 months and 3 months only. And if that didn't work for me, I never wanted to hear it again. I told him how I told my doctor that I don't believe in magic shots, that there's nothing out there that can just make somebody lose weight. There never has been, there never will be, and I just didn't believe it. Boy, was I wrong. I also explained to him how obviously this helps a lot, but that you have to work with the shot. That it does take work. It doesn't just do it on its own. From there, I gave him all of my greatest hits, as I like to call it. From restriction is the path that leads to the dark side, to my mantra, which you can see right there over my shoulder, keep moving forward. I explained to him what that meant. And I told him how my video for that very next day, the one that came out last Sunday, was going to talk about how weight loss is not linear. How a lot of people feel when you start losing weight, you just start losing weight, you just keep losing weight. And that's just how it goes. And that's just not the case. I explained how I've had so many speed bumps in my life that would set me back quite a ways. And honestly, ones that I could never get over at times. And I would just quit, give up. But I've learned, thanks to Mounjaro, that I can get over those and I can keep moving forward. So even if I have a setback, I just need to keep moving forward. And he completely understood what I was talking about. I eventually told him what my starting weight was and how I've lost 232 pounds now, which is roughly 39% of my body weight. And the look in his eyes was like, really? So I pulled out my phone and I showed him pictures. And at one point he looked at one and then looked at me and he says, "You were bigger than me at one point?" Yeah, I was. And then I let him know that if I can do this, he could too. I could just see the look on his face, the look in his eyes. It was as if he had found hope. It was something spectacular. We kept talking. He asked a lot of questions, which I was very thankful for. I answered him as best I could. And then at one point he says to me, "You are such an inspiration. I am so thankful that I met you." It was then that I started thinking about it. Like, is this why I got my second wind? Was I meant to be here at this game? Just before the game ended, Oklahoma City losing 3-2 yet again, he tells me that after his vacation here, he's going to go ahead and go back home and he's going to look into this. And then he says something to me, something that still rings in my ears, and that is, "You may have just saved my life." How do you respond to something like that? I don't know. His voice has still been ringing in my head all these days later. "You may have just saved my life." And that's, you know, I have a hard time being called an inspiration. I'm nobody special. I'm just me. I struggle daily. I have good days, I have bad days, and I just have a hard time being called that. But I understand that there are times when we need to see other people that have done this. It's absolutely one thing to read stories, and it's another to see it like right here on YouTube, but to meet somebody face to face and be able to talk about it, that's a complete another thing. And his words still just ring in my head. "You may have just saved my life." Wow. I started this YouTube channel as a way that I could look back myself and see how far I've come, to try to maybe get some inspiration for myself to keep moving forward when I'm having tough times. This channel has turned into something so much more for me because I've got you guys. You keep me moving forward without a doubt. I don't know where I would be if I hadn't done this. You know, I started it a few years back and I failed, and I started it again and I failed. And then when I eventually went on Mounjaro, it was a friend of mine back home, Markel, who told me, "You need to start your videos again." You know, who's gonna watch them? I told her. It doesn't really matter. I know what's going on. I've got photos. I can follow myself that way. But she talked me into it. And here we are. Man, I can't thank her enough for talking me into that, because I've got every one of you, all of you out there that watch these videos, that click like, that have subscribed, that leave me comments. Man, you're my inspiration. So here's a picture of Eric and I. This is our before. That's what I'm calling it. I can't wait to get out there and see him again once he's always into his weight loss journey, so we can do another photo together, so we could see just how much weight each one of us have lost, but how much healthier we both are. I can't wait for that day. So Eric, I hope you're watching these. Just know that not only myself, but everybody else watching this video is rooting for you as well. I guarantee you they are. Again, I had no plans to go to that game. I was going to stay at home. But I truly, truly feel that I was there at that moment for a reason. So let me leave you with one thing, just one thing. You just never know how you're going to touch somebody else's life. Be open, be susceptible to those moments, and be thankful that we can be there for somebody else. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to follow me on my journey to become a fat guy no more, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that bell so you can get notifications every time I upload a new video.